an equal distribution from all of these funds. Simple, no problem, yep, done. Well, number one, they get a big problem because they can't qualify all of these specialty investment funds in the first place because the public never knew about them, the majority. Okay, so that's a big problem for them. They can't mention it. Silence, void of comprehension. Now, the TRF fund, tax retirement fund, what I've done there is now, after bringing forward comprehension and disclosure, I'm now showing that by investment revenue, just like a government pension fund, which there's a massive, it's the largest financial structure on the face of the planet. Collective government pension funds, you're talking about $26 trillion, local and federal. Now, you will not see consolidated totals anywhere. You may see large funds disclosed, CalPERS, New York State Retirement Fund, different state retirement funds, but there are hundreds, if not thousands, of other smaller and mid-sized pension funds for government that they're not talking about. You look at the collective totals, it's massive. And for the last 60 years, as government pension funds grew, they drove the economy. They were investing in corporations, real estate projects, shopping malls, apartment buildings. They drove the economy. Okay? TRF funds, tax retirement funds, here's the win-win situation. Why it will happen, will work, and I'll show you the 1 + 1 equation that equals 2 that will, get a chill in your spine. The last couple hundred years, you had government and the financial cartels working together to do the wealth transfer from the population. Okay? And they were. They built up a phenomenal corporate structure to do so. TRF funds, for the first time in history, teams up the population and the financial cartels to modify government's operations, administratively modify it. The entire structure is in place today to make it happen. Why is it not happening? They've been conditioned to their easy money, direct taxation. Hey, 15-year-old kid, 14-year-old kid with a carte blanche allowance check who determined his own allowance check, do you think he's going to give that up? He'll run you into the ground. You gave a 14-year-old carte blanche to cut his own check, you made $3,000, say, a month, he'd be cutting a check for $3,500 a month. Well, work harder. Get another job. Get your income up to $3,500. I cut an allowance check for $4,000 next week, You wouldn't be stopped. Government's not going to be stopped. It's easy money, especially when you have 70–80% attorneys running the entire show. They couldn't care less. There's a presentment of offering a service. I mean, the schools are, it's phenomenal in the schools and certain things, healthcare and so forth, but it's designed for profit, to funnel in tax revenue to guarantee a profit on investment holdings. And the public's not looking at that. So they're getting burnt. Taxpayers getting burnt beyond imagination. They have been for the last 30–40 years. TRF funds, public now starts looking. You start creating the investment wealth from the TRF funds, meeting budgetary obligations. You can actually, most cases, for 3, 4, 5 years, phase out taxation in that venue. Because after audit review and consolidation of surplus revenues, you may be 45, 55, 60% there on the balance. Okay? Pension funds, people put in 1.5% employee, 1.5% local government to build up to their massive structures now. TRF funds, you have the object of phasing out taxation. Let's move it along. Make an 8% contribution into that. Meet the objective in 3–4 years. No taxation. Phase it out. Because you're meeting your budgetary obligations from the return on the funds. And they have a 65-year exemplary track record of showing what they did with their own funds. You have certain examples here and there where they try to promote, oh, we got burnt with everybody else. No. 9/11, government funds barely missed a heartbeat. Public got cremated. Okay, 2008, public got burnt to the nth degree. Government funds, they took a hit, but hardly missed a heartbeat in comparison. And the short derivative positions they took prior to 2008, they made a killing. I'm a derivatives trader. And what people don't realize, for every dollar lost in one account, a dollar is credited to another account. And here, 35, 40 trillion dollars changed hands worldwide, created the depression we're in right now, okay, from sucking that money out of everyone else's pockets, you know, through easy opportunity on the derivative play, as everybody got caught in the wrong positions, the minnows got eaten alive. But that money was transferred elsewhere. But they did it so fast, so hard at the end of 2008, they created a lot of defaults. You can only steal so much money from somebody. If somebody was caught in the derivative trade, they lost $140 million. They only had $100 million. They're in default for $40 million. So here's the definition of arrogance. They now take $1 trillion here and $1 trillion there of taxpayer revenue to shore up their own casino, which they just stole $35, $40 trillion from the world population. Now, if that's not the definition of arrogance, I don't know what is. And the public sits there, masterfully entertained. Well, did you hear O.J. was back on trial? And what's that golfer's name? He was cheating on his wife. When you talk about what's important, your life, your home, your community, your family, they have you off in la-la land, not even thinking about the basics of the money. Cash in hand, total investments, total net worth. Even if you try to dig into and ask, they're going to play the old silent routine on you. But your advantage, they had the comprehensive annual financial report. They had to keep their own records. You start crunching numbers, start looking, read. At first you'll go, whoa, what's this? Little bit by little bit, pick it up. Get a few friends together. And all of a sudden you're going to be saying, they did this, what? They did this, what? They paid that, what? You now have the edge. You're looking. Now, I've had a lot of people say, Walter, when did this all start? Federal Reserve, end of World War I, 1800s? I said, no, I went back a little further than that. I went back to the caveman days. There's this caveman had a beautiful cave on a cliff overlooking the beach. You see the entire ocean. One day, this other caveman came running up. He lived back in the swamps, you know, really bad part of town. I just found 500 herd beasts. I captured 20 of them. I'm going to have meat for the next 3 years. Do you want some? He goes, yeah, where are they? He goes, let me draw you a map. You go over this mountain here, down that canyon, make a right, go down to the end of the canyon, and they're right there. The guy grabs his rope, runs off with the map in hand, goes over the mountain, makes a left at that canyon, makes a right at that canyon, gets down to the end of the canyon. What he finds is 5 ravenous saber-toothed tigers who promptly eat him for lunch. The other caveman's there, standing up at his front door. Hey, now I got a place with a view. That's when it started. Okay? And the more you're masterfully entertained, the more easier of a mark you become. And when you have collective government, I'm giving my end time, when you have collective government masterfully entertaining the entire population, not to even think of the basics on the city level, county level, school district level, we got exactly what we got. But hopefully I've given you the comprehension to start reversing it, and this, I can't tell you, this is the most important, this is the whole spinal cord, the whole comprehension, cognitive thought that everything else comes from. And we all know how to be energetic now and healthy, so our minds are working properly, so everybody in this room is going to be dynamic players, I'm sure. And I thank you very much for listening to me.